Just Twitch being weird.
Twitch being a bitch. What?
I know, right? I have to. So when this happens, you have to do it manually.
I don't see where these blades are at.
It's in a plastic container. Well, it's in one of those hanging things.
I think maybe the oh. We got a Stanley knife.
Do we? Oh.
Yeah, actually Stanley grain.
Yeah. Yeah.
On grain.
Huh, nice. Use stream summary.
My brand.
Manager. Oh, Twitch, why you gotta be so weird?
Why you gotta be so weird?
I don't know how to change the titles on this thing anymore. They changed everything. Oh! Twitch's TOS.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Ha!
That's
Genocide?
what. Yep.
Ha! That'll be it.
I'm gonna try replacing a E with a 3. Twitch's TOS. Okay. Genocidal's still there, just replace the E with a 3. So,
that's hilarious.
Okay, so now we know why.
Apparently you can't say that you can't put the word genocidal in your title on Twitch.
Yep, that's a red flag.
Good to know. Good to know.
Good game. Good game. Well played.
Well played, Twitch.
Ah, foiled again. Alright, so I think that'll do. Okay, cool. And then... face it forward. We're going to be spending most of our time in front.
Yeah, I'm just taking it up.
Oh, wow, that's cool. I had an idea. Hey.
Just to give us an idea.
Do you want to actually try and frame it with something?
Hmm?
So you can use the live feed, right? This is
Yeah,
this is what you're looking at?
I'm looking.
Oh, okay. Smart.
Yeah.
Smart man. Smart.
Watashi wa ie baka desu.
Well, no, idiot. But that's not how
that's
how it works. That's not how the sentence structure works.
No, I don't know Japanese grammar. I just know it's a lexicon.
Oh, what kind of linguist are you? Not the Japanese kind, that's for sure.
I'm literally not Japanese.
What? But why aren't you? You could be.
But I couldn't be Japanese. I mean, in some way, I guess I could.
Haven't you heard the song? I think I'm Japanese. I think I'm Japanese. I really think so.
I think I'm turning Japanese.
Oh, well, start turning.
I'm Japanese.
Start turning. Start turning. Turn faster.
Let's go there.
Yeah. I hope we don't get banned from. I hope we don't get banned from
Twitch.
Twitter or Reddit, because like Reddit is a community funded or community driven thing. So it will be a person that will ban us, not a computer.
Yeah, right.
Oh, finally, yeah. And this is the endless setup that we were talking about.
Mike?
Yeah, we still haven't finished setting up. Yes, Mike. Which we may have jumped the gun possibly on.
Yeah?
because like usually you want the mic plugged in before you turn everything on.
Oh, well. So where's it pulling the video from?
Probably the laptop mic as a default.
Yeah, makes sense.
So this will make it sound way better.
Because even though HDMI can carry sound, it's the input is via USB.
Yes.
Yeah.
And whenever you plug it in, it will ask you what did you plug in. You have to say mic in, otherwise it fucks everything up.
Yeah. There we go. That's kind of it.
Yeah. So make sure when it comes up with this prompt, you go okay for the mic in.
Yeah.
Because if you I mean, like, technically we could shrink this so it gets more field of view, but
Yeah. Nah.
we could also, like, mount.
Or we can just encourage Reddit to move over to YouTube.
We could. We could.
Options.
Do you like your field of view? Consider YouTube.
Because with YouTube, you could see all this.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. So we're not kidding when we say you'll get 200% more video footage.
200%.
More content.
More value. More content.
Value. Oh yeah.
It's a little bit weird because like if I'm looking, I'll look at the screen, but I need to look at the camera. Otherwise,
Yeah,
I'm looking off the side. Yeah,
Which is why I wanted the pop-up LCD thing to work.
Yeah.
But we're not rich enough for that model of camera.
Not yet, but like.
Oh yeah,
you
but
still have
so do you. So do you. You know what? The next camera could be yours.
Yeah, but like.
You can fund it. That's fine.
I'm a retail assistant.
Yes, and
you're a.
so we will expect this camera in maybe 3 years, maybe.
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 Yeah.
All right, and we're finally set up. Hopefully the audio is fine. I'm just going to test the audio. Okay.
Yeah,
it's coming from here.
Sick. All right, you working over there?
Yeah, just gotta clean up the workbench. So obviously after setting all of this up, put all the bags in this bag, put it all the way over here. So it's out of the way, and then also this as well. Everything has to stay together, otherwise we lose it. We just lose everything. Nice tracking.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome to another stream. We're an hour late and we're already 15 minutes into the stream. Completely nothing, just random setup. Welcome to the behind the scenes. We gave you the behind the scenes tour, 15 minutes of it. Whoa, what value? What value? So here we have Australian Dad joining us today. He's got to squeeze in. Whoa, whoa! And all the timber just came falling down. So Australian Dad's here with us today. Is that your moniker? Do you want to rebrand to something, or are you just gonna keep Australian Dad? Just keep it.
Yeah, I'm G bruv. I'm all G bruv. Don't worry about it. Don't even flip, dog. Don't even have a aneurysm.
Right. Yeah.
Where's the Reddit chat? Will that come up in offhand?
Yeah. So this has been really modded really well. So it'll just appear here.
Nice.
But I'm also putting it here. So.
Yeah, cool.
I'm also putting on my wrist. So it'll be
putting
fun.
on the old wristy boy.
Yep. The old-fashioned wristy. Just doing a quick, sneaky wristy. Yep. And now we're finally online.
Finally ready. Now that Senpai's got his wristy.
Yep, head clear, everything's clear. I'm good with the wristy now.
Got the wristy?
Yeah, got the wristy. We got 16 people. So.
You G bro? You You got the
wristy, I got the wristy.
wristy, bro. Brothers, make sure you get your wristy on. Look at that wristy.
Yes. I don't know what I don't know why you.
TOS.
It doesn't help that it's black.
Maybe it does help.
Well, I don't know. People like it miniature these days. I don't know.
Do they?
I don't know. I keep seeing tweets.
Business.
I keep seeing tweets of like just girls online saying, "Oh, can we just admit that bigger is just overrated? It just hurts." I don't know.
That's not the feedback I've been getting.
Of course. Of course. So today, we're going to continue refurbishing this armor. We've put a coat already on the front and back. So and then we've also like the putty that we put on the helmet is now dry, so we can now like smooth that out and refurbish it. So we've already it's stuck to the tarmac. Okay, that's like the excess paint. We didn't tear anything. That's good. So we're getting there. It's glossy. We can still see like patches.
Show us how glossy it is.
It's pretty gloss. It's pretty gloss. Wow, how shiny that is.
Oh,
pretty gloss.
Shiny.
But if you take a closer look, you can see like patches where the steel is showing through. You can see the dark steel. We did just paint over the. Is that
the microphone?
That's my phone.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we did just paint over the original paint, which is why we have these dark areas. So we'll probably go for a second coat here. Yeah. All that stuff.
There we go.
I mean, I'm just trying to show you the dark patches. You can see the dark patches quite easily.
I can zoom. Like, remember, this is the shot, not this. I know, right?
All right. So yeah, we'll do that, and then I'll probably have to sand it back down, get another even surface going, just so like we have like the ridges sanded off, and then we can just repaint it. So yeah, it's all about surfacing now, getting the nice sheen. Make it look like a fridge. It really looks like a fridge.
Get it going Charlie style.
Charlie. I don't even know who that is.
Charlie Sheen.
Yes, I suppose. What?
It was a pun, Alwyn. A pun.
Yes. This
is much better camera quality. Look at that.
Yeah, it also deals better with dark conditions.
Yeah, I noticed.
Yeah, it's great.
Fully sick. I don't know if I'm through on the Reddit stream, but like it looks pretty sexy here.
Yeah, if only like whatever we were filming was just which is why we're trying to work out. I mean, no amount of camera work is going to make this look good. You just gotta do the hard miles.
Need more pixels.
So they can see how big the moobs are. You know, just... God damn it. Why?
Well, we got a couple comments.
Do we actually? Oh, we do.
Yeah, I can see. I can't read them from here.
You should invest in a sandblaster. Sure.
That's expensive.
But that's a big investment.
Doesn't Doug have a sandblaster?
Huh?
Doesn't Doug have a sandblaster?
I don't know.
I think Doug might have a sandblaster.
Oh, okay. Well, but it's expensive. All right? Sandblasting's expensive. And so is sand.
No, it's not.
Doesn't grow on trees.
No, but there's a beaches full of it. We export it all the time.
Okay, so what you're saying is we should go to the beach and sandboard on these until all the paint is off.
Sure.
That'll work. Or we just travel somewhere where there's like frequent sandstorms and just hold it up high.
I'm seeing some issues with this plan.
No. No, I do want, like, it would be great to have all the money in the world, but I'd rather do things manually for something I'm probably only going to do once.
I'm going to get some water.
Yep, cool. Sweet. Watching Nick walk away. We're not zooming in on that, I'm sorry.
Do you want the audience or not?
Yeah, I want a audience. One would be just fine. I got paint on my hands. Yeah. This is the late night show where everything just hits the wall and everything happens. But like I said, I don't know if I'm going to ever do this again. Yep. I don't know if we'll ever do this again. Like if I was doing this on a regular basis, like just trying to put armor together and restore pieces of armor together, if that was a constant thing that I was doing every day, maybe I would invest in a sandblaster, but I'm just not. So I'm just trying to get away with what I can get away with for cheap, basically. All right, so I'm just gonna hand sand it, and I know that's painful for you guys to watch, but that's what we're doing today. We're gonna tear into. Well, we're gonna tear into the smooth finish of this, try and even up everything by hand, and I hope that it will turn out all right. But it feels like peeling that off the bench really feels like this didn't really dry properly. But what are you gonna do? Get the old sanding pad. It's grits of. Okay, so I just want to tackle the low lights of. Did you make these pieces of armor, and are they being refurbished? Oh, refurbished. But I have another set which I have made from scratch, so I do both. It's just that the this surfacing isn't so great. I've already tore into the steel here, and I'm wondering if this is the best idea. But I just want to do some light sanding to get rid of the high points, smooth it out a little more. But yeah, we are refurbishing this. This set is refurbished. So it was it really needed some attention. It was very beaten up. We're trying to straighten out all the dents. In fact, all the low patches you see, all the big low patches here are all the big low patches that you see are areas where I filled in the this area, for instance, is not just steel. There was a massive hole here which I filled in with putty. So yeah, this is being refurbished. But it's getting there. We're getting closer and closer to the stormtrooper finish. It's a massive paint line here. Maybe pads aren't so great. Got a massive paint line here, which I put too much paint on, admittedly. Maybe a scraper, actually. I can just scrape it off. Maybe. I don't know if this will work properly. Maybe it's not the best move, but I want to try it because it feels like this is something I can achieve with scraping it off. I'm hoping to scrape off the extra thick paint and not the paint underneath. Yeah, that works fine. Feels like the extra thick parts feel doughy, so it's easy to scrape off. But I want to surface it better, so that's why we're sanding it and making sure it's all good. I think maybe I'm thinking about this way too much and I should just go into just putting a second coat on. Will you try it on and battle when it's finished? Yes. As a resounding yes. So I don't know where you are, but where I live, we have a flourishing medieval society. There's like a lot of festivals and meetups where you can turn up and, you could sample the culture, but I'm in it for the combat because I've always wanted to do like a unique form of exercise. Kind of appeals to me. There's a massive paint line here. So like I want to get involved, but the cost of entry is particularly high because you can't do combat without like a suit of armor, which is why I'm like things happened, but essentially I managed to acquire a suit for free. Can't really beat free, but it was really beaten up, so I guess like the investment here is putting the time in to fix it. So yes, the intention is to fight in it eventually. All right, I think maybe we could just go for a second round at this. So I think that looks fine. The back doesn't really matter because we're going to coat it with. The back doesn't really matter because we're just going to coat it in like we're going to put in a lining eventually, which I don't have at the moment. So the back will be fine, but the surface of it we have to repaint, I think. So this is ready for painting. I'm going to check the front. Front, I think, is a little better, but it still needs some work. You can clearly see where I haven't really smoothed it out properly. So you can see those low patches. The zoom is excellent on this thing. And an autofocus. We scratched it here in the middle of moving it around.
Oh, damn.
So that's why it looks really wet. But there's like patches like here where you can see like a crescent moon. That's where the high points of the putty was. So there was a massive hole here.
Yeah.
You can barely see, and I'm happy about this, you can barely see the patch job on this plate here as well. This was a massive gash coming across here, but I filled it with car filler. Like, I'll show you the gash I'm talking about. Trying to center it.
Yeah, there it is.
So this is a massive gash. You can kind of see the paint difference here. But this used to be like a massive gash.
Sometimes all you want is a massive gash. Sorry.
But it's all fixed now. So it's getting closer and closer to pristine. I don't know why it has a yellow tinge here. I really don't. I don't know why it has that yellow tinge. But I'm hoping there's not much that needs to be done here. Just needs a second coat, I think. I think I also used way too much paint on the first pass. But thankfully we have enough paint to go around. So it's looking more and more like a fridge, which is good. In fact, I'm starting to get like fridge vibes just stroking this thing. It feels like a fridge.
Well, hang on, I've got a Sharpie.
Are you going to write like your shopping list on the fridge? Or are you just going to meme going, oh my one? It feels very fridgy. Oh, great. Awesome. Yeah, that gets you too, huh? Soba? Or soda.
Megan. Soba.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah. Could have a Japanese.
Oh, no. Maybe it's not Friggy at all. And you used a permanent marker?
Here's a Sharpie.
Oh, man. Permanent marker.
We just need a dry eraser and it'll come off.
We also have mineral terps.
Okay, that'll do it. Sorry, man.
So you made the classic mistake of like not. Oh my god! You didn't even use whiteboard marker, man. Oh,
Sorry, bro.
it's okay. Oh, it's a Sharpie.
What are we up to? How will you try it on and battle when it's finished?
I answered that.
How old is this piece? Do you know?
Oh, I think it's several years old. It's a replica. I think the original YouTube video still exists out there of this being bashed in.
Yeah, right.
So it's in no way authentic for several reasons. So the first being is that they've done I believe this is a laminar armor. This is a laminar armor. Lamellar armor is where it's like tiny little scales.
Wow.
So laminar armor. So this is a laminar armor, and it's clearly trying to recreate one, but there's no stitches.
You got any metho?
Method.
Yeah. It'll work better with terps.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. Methylated.
Any kind of spirits? Any kind of alcohol?
No.
It's linseed oil, isn't it?
Yeah, it's linseed.
Yeah, no.
I might have something.
You got any
I might have some.
Healthy Suggestion says, I look forward to seeing this armor in battle.
Yes, as soon as people stop writing on it.
That's not gonna stop you riding into battle.
Just gonna have eggs, cream, and
I'm
soda.
just writing into battle.
Fuck off. Oh my god. You've already ruined it.
Yeah, alcohol work. Yeah, alcohol.
Maybe this will. It's
Even
kind of
beer would
working.
suffice, but I didn't bring you homebrew. Maybe I should set up a homebrew station here.
You could.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Like good old resin cleaner. I think this is.
What is it?
It's high evapor. Well, it's acetone.
Yeah, acetone's good.
So to deal with ass.
Ass and toe. Might as well just paint over.
I know I will, but we all know, like, the second, like, because this is on the outer coat, I'm going to have to do a third coat just to get rid of it. So it's still going to be here next week.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean it.
I know you didn't, but now we just have this sketch of just me cleaning my
Well, now
armor.
we know it's very fridge-like.
Well, with permanent markers, yes. Jesus. I don't think we actually proved that it was any closer to a fridge because
Yeah, man, it wrote just like on a fridge.
I can't get rid of it. I think
What happened if you use Sharpie on a fridge?
Yes, exactly. But god damn it. I think the acetone's actually eating into the paint. So if I keep going, I think the paint layer will be gone. But maybe that's what I want because the only way to get it off now is to sand it off.
You want to hear about my essay?
Sure.
So this essay is
Just so you know, this was like banned in Twitch because of TOS.
Pork Soup Dumpling says, I'm here for the delve.
Oh, you what? Wow. Okay, well,
wow, it's really wiping off the paint.
yes, this is acetone.
I'm sorry.
It's fine.
All right. Oh, delving into the we haven't gotten there yet. Delving into the genocidal history of Australia.
Wow.
Haven't gotten there.
Didn't know that this would be a TED Talk. The caliber, just the caliber of this stream, did not know.
So I need to, basically I'm doing Aboriginal studies. I need to write an essay. That's not the essay I was about to talk about. That's about meaning. It's about language.
It's not the first time a white man has ruined something.
Look, man, if you hadn't come and stolen all our jobs.
But yes, the acetone has worked too well, and now like the paint is clearly coming off.
Pork Soup Dumpling says, I'm here for the delve. I'm from Canada, so... Yeah. Canada has problems too.
Do they? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know too much about it. Tell me about it. Tell me about like the Canadian side of things.
I'm not super familiar with it, but I've heard like that's what my
Reverse Uno card. You are now the talker, whoever you are.
Pork Soup Dumpling. Tell us about Canadian.
That sounds very Canadian. Pork soup dumpling.
Decolonization helps reduce depression. Jay Parra says, spray it with some good old Rust-Oleum paint, good coverage, and no rust.
You assume we have all the things and infinite money.
Yeah, no, we don't have those things. Source spam. This is a maker space, not a making space.
This is a maker. This is a maker space, not a made space. We're still making things and trying to make it. We haven't made it yet.
So
we're still making it.
Let's see. I need to go in and choose the essay topic. This essay is due on Sunday.
Okay, well, better get to work. Do you want the floor, aka the mic?
Yeah. That's alright.
Secretly, the sweatshop will run in the background.
Alright, folks. We need to choose one of 4 topics. Cultural safety is critical to improving Aboriginal health and well-being. Racism continues to impact on Aboriginal people. Discuss.
Ugh.
Aboriginal knowledges are useful for solving contemporary problems. Discuss. Or Australian policy has caused ongoing damage to Aboriginal cultures. I think the 4th one's going to be the easiest.
Are you going for the easiest, or you're not challenging yourself?
No, I mean, like, it's going to be the easiest. Like, I know
to argue.
Information about.
Yeah, okay.
For that, because like Aboriginal knowledges are useful for solving contemporary problems. I don't really know where to look for that stuff.
But the dream time.
It's dreaming.
Yeah, okay. But the rainbow serpent solves everything.
That's Alan. That's not what they're talking about.
Isn't it?
Like land management stuff. Traditional land management practices.
How do we not know there are not lessons in the rainbow serpent story?
I'm sure there are, but I don't think that's what they're talking about.
Are you sure? I'm just playing dumb devil's advocate. Is it working?
The first one was cultural safety is critical to improving Aboriginal health and well-being.
Cultural safety. But who are you protecting who from?
What?
I don't know.
Do you know what cultural safety is?
We're like enforcing a culture that doesn't, destroy other people's cultures, like discrimination and things. Is that vaguely what it is? Like making sure cultures are able to exist safely.
Yes, but also
especially minority ones.
Yeah, and like not and allowing space in societal systems for those cultures to exist. Like so, for example.
So what he's saying is I shouldn't paint over this dark bit, but I am.
Like for example. In a lot of Aboriginal Australian cultures, a lot of Indigenous cultures, there's a really big cultural phenomenon around mourning.
Mm-hmm.
So, like when someone dies, that's why you see those warnings about like whether or not Aboriginal people who have passed away are featured in a film. It's like you might see a warning at the beginning of a video that says
Mabo may die in this film. No? Or Mabo may not die in this film.
It says this video may feature names and images of people who have passed away. And that has to do with spiritual notions of what happens to people when they pass away, and that like part of the mourning process is not saying a person's name because it's bringing them back from being integrated back into the world, back into the ether type thing. There's complicated stuff around it, but that's like so.
So what are they doing by doing those efforts? What are they achieving exactly?
It's just part of their cultural practice.
Oh, that they
That's
don't
part of their mourning process. But like
like to not commercialize it or to commercialize it in a movie.
Does everyone know why that is?
All right. Well, whilst we're still here, I would like to make a formal apology to JPower574. We actually do have Rust-Oleum.
There you go.
How about that? So yeah. But you lost me somewhere. Like, so you're saying in films that they don't depict images of
No. They put a warning at the beginning.
Oh, they put a warning.
Yeah, and like, but that's an example. But you see, like, the incorporation of those, the respect of those like those mourning practices and stuff, in the medical sector, where like they talk when say a medical professional comes to talk to the family of an Aboriginal person who's dying or whatever, and say like allowing in-home care. There's issues around allowing in-home care, and when a person passes away, how they talk about it with the family, because it's all based around the way that their practices run is all based around Western culture, the way that we communicate.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So what? So the question is asking you how protection of these what was it cultural
Safety.
How enforcing that does what?
It's cultural safety is critical to improving Aboriginal health and well-being.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and like being able to be in your own home and be able to be with the land that you're from, and that does a lot for mental health, which has a knock-on effect to physical health.
Yeah, that makes sense because that's what they would expect from their culture, and being denied of that, I suppose, is very demoralizing.
Oh, it can kill. Because that's what trauma and
yes, like his spirit will never find peace.
well, I mean, yes, kind of like that.
Yeah.
It's a similar notion, if there's a massive trauma that you never recover from, and as a result, your health declines and you die. These kind of things where it's respecting, it's being aware of what things impact, what phenomena impact people differently dependent on their culture, that has an impact upon the psychological, mental, and so physical health of people. And our lens is constrained to the Western mode of thinking.
Oh yeah. But there's a question here, right? Because if you were to respect, like say Christianity in the same way that is being done here, their choices about, like abortion and like pro-life, be like Christianity being very pro-life, gift of God, all that stuff. Whereas it's versus.
I mean, nobody's forcing anyone to get an abortion.
That's right, but like say in Australia there are like hospitals and private hospitals of St. John, right? Christian type hospitals.
To flip this on its head, you could think about it this way. Neo-colonialism. I'm not sure what you mean by neo-colonialism, pork soup dumpling.
Oh, it's where Neo creates a colony.
No. But,
whoa.
So if you flip this idea on its head and you the cultural safety of people whose culture it is to not consider abortion an option, it could be considered culturally unsafe to after finding out that a person is pregnant, but then say, okay, and would you like an abortion?
Yeah, yeah.
To go. Oh, this is an obvious upfront option, and that would be quite distressing for people
who are Christian, for example.
Well, but particularly for Christian or other people who aren't necessarily Christian that think that that's right, we've broadcast hit the time limit.
Right. All right. You know how to reset it. Yeah. Okay.
Let's
just append a part 2. Yeah, and then part 2.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can find you. Maybe you want to wait like 5 minutes for them to shuffle back in.
Yeah.
You have a viewer counter there.
Yeah, I saw.
Did you click start? There you go. I did not know that Reddit would be so intellectual. That's a first.
So, like, that's that notion of cultural safety. Like, if you were saying to every young mother to be, so are you going to have an abortion? Like, as a really like big issue, and then with almost an expectation that they're going to seriously consider it. People who think that that's a horrible thing, that's very stressful and traumatic. Similar kind of notions of cultural safety. So
Yeah.
That's the way to think about it in different ways.
Yep. But I was using that as a flip side. So sometimes, it's not for, the benefit of the person to preserve that cultural safety. Because, you got to have a really complex situation where, she's, I'm just using Christian as an extreme example. Sure. But, you have a sort of like Christian influenced hospital, like St. John, and they don't perform by policy abortions at St. John's.
Sure.
Right? But her culture is like, or her family maybe is driving her to be attended to by St. John. She's Christian, her family is Christian, but personally the mother in question doesn't want to have this child. Yeah. So really big red.
Like, culture war, basically.
Yeah.
But like, the issue there is whether or not people have the freedom to choose.
Yeah.
And whether or not people have that option afforded to them to make that decision before they're confronted with social pressure, let's say. Like if instead of saying, so are you going to have an abortion, there's just like a culture around where I have pork soup dumpling.
Oh, he's back. Yeah. All right. Well, he missed that entire thing. We finished that argument now.
Blood transfusions. That's another example.
Is it? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's some people are like, I don't want to have blood transfusions. And that's that's also another question of cultural safety of whether or not people are and that's why like they'll put do not accept blood transfusions on say like their driver's license, so it's not.
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're saying that sort of system should be expanded
putting the, I mean, we already have that endemic in society, but looking at how we create cultural safety for Aboriginal communities, because we don't have that nearly as much.
Yeah.
That's the premise.
So what I would really like for hospitals to adopt is to have like two coins for the boatman.
But yeah, like, and the way to fix that is those issues is roughly speaking to have a culture that surrounds the issue, that accepts that talks about and manages thinking about the issue so that the decision can be made before the event. Like, Jehovah's Witnesses can put on their driver's license or whatever. I don't know how they do it.
Like a diabetes bracelet.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Except they'll have like a Jehovah's Witness thing on it.
Don't give me blood transfusions, or do not resuscitate, or
prepare for the second coming, please.
Or a culture where women can go and get abortions if they choose to, and it doesn't have to be a case of whether or not their doctor thinks they should.
Yeah. Okay.
In the same way, in a similar way, thinking about whether or not Talk to Dumpling says, then again, religion is changing. For example, the Pope. Did you hear about that?
Hear about what?
What the Pope said?
No, I didn't. What did he say?
Something about gay people should be able to have families too.
Oh, that's
very
new.
big for the Catholic Church.
That's new.
Yes, healthcare workers need to offer culturally accessible services and confidentiality.
I want my tokens for the boatman. Why?
You're making light of a very serious issue.
That's what this.
I mean, you're not.
Stream's all about.
You're not on a platform where you need to be sensible about this.
Yeah. Okay.
We're talking about whether or not what I am or am not writing an essay about. But the issue is not whether or not I could talk about this.
You could.
I could talk about this for 1,500 words, but whether or not I need sources. You know.
I see.
I know where to look for sources for number 4.
Oh, okay. So
it's all in Australian policy. Australian policy has caused ongoing damage to Aboriginal cultures. Have you heard of protectionism?
I've heard the word. Don't really know where it is.
Back to that in a second. Talksuit Dumpling asks, "What is the Armour for?"
What is the Armour for? Apparently protecting providing safety to cultures. In a very, very physical way. So I'm protecting my Japanese culture with steel. I don't have any Japanese culture. I just have an interest. So.
So what is it actually for?
This particular one is for training because it's a light armor. It is a mild steel. We know it's mild steel because it rusts. Yeah, that's no, that's fine. That's fine. Like
I thought it was connected.
No, I had to deconnect. Okay, so the reason why, like Nick, if you would kindly, do your Mr. Magoo moment again. Take 3.
Oh no! I dropped there.
I am so glad I numbered those, because now it's all out of order. Anyway,
That's fine, don't worry about it.
Forget about it! Alright, well, what were you doing? I was about to explain what it's made of, but...
Mild steel.
It's mild steel, very thin. It's a 0.9... it's less than a millimeter, 0.9 mil thick. Obviously thicker in places where it's overlap, but that's roughly where it is. Because it's thin, it's also light, which is what my teachers have recommended me to start using for training. Ease into the armor, don't go straight bang into the high grade, the full contact armor that I have.
Question: do all Australians acknowledge genocidal history? No.
They don't?
No.
I thought it was fact at this point.
I mean, it is.
And it isn't. Yes, but no.
Well, yes, but actually no.
Right. Well.
I mean, like, it's well known, but like it's well known. And
there's bubbles in there. I heard that there was a trick to get rid of bubbles by heat gunning it.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if that's true.
It's well known, but
it is a universal truth.
It's a universal truth that Australia has a genocidal history. But it's not really it's not taught in the Australian syllabus.
Really?
It's not taught in schools.
It's probably not a focus. No.
Yeah, I mean, like, I can't say what's taught now, but when I went through school, which like I'm in fourth, so I went through school in the noughties and 10s.
Wow, it does. But that finish looks really shit. That finish looks really shit. I may have made it worse.
You're making it worse!
It's okay. We'll just sand it off and start again. Yeah, so this is a training armor. It's meant to be light. Well, it is light. It's lighter than the one I have that I first decided to make.
You got the questions on there?
I do.
Comments?
I do. That's what this is for.
I thought so.
Yeah. But obviously you were answering some, so I just let you have the floor.
Yeah. How did they do what? I don't know.
Question to all. You answered
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
How did they do it? Do all Australians acknowledge genocidal history? How did they do it?
I mean, like genocide. They like.
Genocide. See,
Like-
the genocide.
See, the thing about the genocide is they got the guns and the poisons and you know what I'm talking about.
Thanks, Professor Cosby.
I mean, that's the gist of it. Like
You see,
they had
kids like the rap music.
they had conflict and they shot people and they poisoned people and they introduced diseases like they did in the Americas.
What, the pox blankets?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's probably but there's probably examples of intentional introduction of diseases, like, and that's the whole box blankets thing. But like, just bringing diseases over would have decimated populations in and of itself.
Oh no, we don't have penicillin because of our, traditional nomadic ways. That's the Aborigines, right? They're just nomadic. They are nomadic to be in.
No, they had cities.
Really?
They had cities. They had agricultural fields as far as the eye could see.
Oh, I'm only familiar with the nomadic kinds.
Look at Bruce Pascoe's TED Talk, or if you're really interested, read Darker in You,
Yeah.
which is his book about Australia's agricultural history, pre-colony,
Oh.
pre-colony.
God, I'm making a paint line.
Oh no, bro. Do you need a brush? Will that fix it?
Yeah, that's a brush.
Just get a brush in it.
Did you want a brush? Did you want a brush?
You want to brush it down?
Anyway, cool. I did not know that.
Oh no! There's a paint line. There's a blob. It's dripping.
It's fucking the worst.
Oh dear.
It's the fucking worst.
How are our comments going? Who's saying what?
How did they do it? Well, that's acknowledged genocidal history. Like, what did you go into? How Australia acknowledges its genocidal history?
I mean,
The change the date movement, man. The change the date for Australia Day, man. Just change it.
That's a thing.
It's a thing.
Like,
apologize. Kevin Rudd said sorry, man.
Yeah,
Kevin Rudd said sorry, man.
I think it was like 1993 when Terra Nullius was reversed. You know about Terra Nullius?
No, tell me about it.
Okay, so
Terra and Nullius.
Terra Nullius, which is Latin for land of no one, land belonging to no one.
Null, yes.
Yeah. Prior to
it's a fucking paint line.
Prior to the referendum of 1967, the Australian Constitution regarded Aboriginal Australians as fauna. They were not people. They were not humans up until 1967.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
So if it works, talks.
So like
it must be a plan.
There are Aboriginal people alive today that were adults. No, I don't know. There are Aboriginal people alive today that have been around since before they were considered human by the Commonwealth of Australia. So it's living memory. Like it's recent history.
Jeez.
Like we've got the whole.
So the stolen generation was just a nursery.
Oh dear.
Not the kindergarten kind of nursery. They were just plants.
Oh dear. I mean, basically.
No.
I mean, they're more considered animals than plants, like fauna, not flora.
Pork Soup Dumpling says, good night, sleepy. Nice chat. All
right, good night. What else? Who was it saying what?
So once again, how did we get into how did they do it? How did they acknowledge genocidal history?
I mean, like,
in several ways.
I mean, first, acknowledge that Aboriginal people are humans. That was a start.
Saying sorry for the stolen generation.
That was 2007 with Kevin
very
Rudd.
late.
In 1993, I think it's Keating introduced native title, which basically allowed Aboriginal people to claim land. But native title is basically basically defunct. Like there's a native title around where Adani's Carmichael mine has been built, and the native
They've been superseded to build.
yeah, they just like the state government can just retract native title like that because it's in the interest of the state.
The glorious state.
But
seize the means of production.
With native title, they can't build anything. They can't benefit from it commercially. They can't receive any funds, even if there's people using the land.
I see.
Yeah, the government has full rights to control the water, land, and air, and to manage it.
Yeah, it just seems wrong. But anyway,
it is wrong.
It's what the kids call fucked.
it's like stepping on the little guy, man. Stepping on the little guy.
So native title was a thing. Kevin Rudd apologized for stolen generations. That was the whole thing.
All sorts of good stuff. All right, cool. That answers that question. But I think like Poxy Dumpling has like fallen asleep. But Jared,
the same across the globe. The victors never talk about what or who they had to screw over to get where they are now.
That's right.
Yeah, I think that's changing. I think that's like
history is written by the winners.
Well, I think that the world's becoming a more
tolerant place. Well, we took a step backwards with Trump.
Let's say synthetic place. Like we're developing a synthesis of cultures more so now. Like globalization is a thing, and and people come together and stuff.
Which means we'll just all adopt a Chinese culture.
And Australia's not just
a UK colony.
Yeah, that's not just a UK colony.
Yeah, we'll be a Chinese one.
It's complicated.
We'll be a Chinese one.
Multiculturalism, cultural revitalization of indigenous cultures, the indigenous Bill of Rights from the United Nations, and the adoption of such things. It's coming together bit by bit. Things are getting better, and that's for the benefit of everyone, really, even the colonized.
Do you need to write something down before you lose all of these ideas?
Oh, I'm not even there yet. I
haven't even chosen the topic.
I haven't come back to protectionism yet.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get to that. Watching Sapa says, I'm Native American and my elementary school taught me white dudes saved my people. Wow.
They did. I'm joking.
Wow. I've played Assassin's Creed 3. I know what's going on.
Yeah, the French got it right. Oh, ever since they renamed our fries to freedom fries.
They tone it down like by 99%. Good night, sleepy, nice chat. Some of the native peoples of Australia and New Zealand had some of the most advanced sea voyaging and star maps the world has ever seen. Some that still haven't really been understood in modern tech. Yeah, no, like the seafaring technologies of Austronesian people is amazing. I don't know much about Australian seafaring. I know that there was trade between like Northern Australia and like Papua New Guinea, Indonesia, like the native peoples thereof, for a long time before Australian colony. But I don't know what the deets are there. But they had like commerce and stuff. It was the whole thing. Internet. They had international trade.
My place is right there.
Yeah. Right. Here we are.
I mean, we could do this like a comedy bit where all the important points will be like, and then in conclusion.
Just like how coloured people in the US, more so African Americans, slaves were only seen as property. Yeah, similar. Like that comes out of the slave culture of ancient Afro-Eurasia, which that was the whole thing. But slaves were still considered people, just lesser people. But Indigenous Australians were not people until 1967, according to the law. So all of that's fucked. But at least they were people, right? I mean, like I've seen Django. I know.
I'm sorry, boy.
Oh dear.
I haven't actually seen it. So.
Oh, haven't you? 10 out of 10. Would recommend. Definitely watch Django. Good show.
It's like what's his name and Samuel Jackson.
What do we got here? Man, y'all did the apology thing right. My people got crowded with 6 other tribes on a reservation. Yeah, that happened a lot in Australia too. So prior to colonization, there were hundreds of Australian Aboriginal communities that, like, massive intercultural mingling, and there are some Aboriginal cultures that had systems with which X culture would like men from X culture would marry women from Y culture, men from Y culture would marry women from Z culture, and like was a whole thing. Very, very complex socio-cultural practices that prevented interbreeding. It was a whole really interesting stuff. But like when protectionism came in, there's that key word, Alwyn, protectionism.
Yeah, I totally caught all of that.
Yeah.
Like, especially the important points.
The important points about protectionism. So protectionism is basically the Australian governments, and because this is like pre-federation, so at this time there wasn't an Australian government, but like they established like welfare boards, which is basically a bunch of old white dudes that are like, we are going to take care of the Aborigine because the Aborigine cannot take care of himself. And they shuffled a bunch of them onto what do they call them? Missions. Yeah, they shuffled them into missions, and basically they said you can't leave here. And they had like curfews and stuff. So if you're Aboriginal, you couldn't be in town after like 6 p.m. You had to be on the mission. Which is basically similar to a reservation, but you had the same kind of thing where you had like lots of different cultures coming together and being expected to just cohabitate despite being very different cultures. Whole other thing, which also contributed to the demolition of native Australian language groups. What do we got? The stuff that was most important for everyone to understand about. Yeah, the stuff that was most important for everyone to understand about how we got here is already forgotten, which is constructed. So, yeah.
Why we're here?
That looks so. Native land in US is so restricted. The government basically gives them some of the most resourceless land. It's sad. Yeah, it's kind of like that in Australia.
Except our Native Americans didn't build casinos.
That's
that was the mob, wasn't it?
No. Okay. So that's it's really interesting about Indian casinos. Let's call quote unquote Indian casinos, because the thing about native title in Australia is they can't do anything with the land. They're not allowed to do anything. They're not allowed to build a house. They owned their land, but they can't live on it. Like they can camp on it, but native title can only be claimed on Crown land, and any Australian could already camp on Crown land. So basically, they get to have their name attached to it, but it doesn't change their rights to that land at all. Basically, businesses that already operate on that Crown land, the Aboriginal people with native title don't have any say over what happens with those businesses. No say. But one of the things we talked about in one of my tutorials was how that means they can't, like, if you don't have the faculties to engage in commerce, You can't go anywhere with that land. Whereas in the US, in America, with the Indian casinos, they could do something with it. They employ people from those native groups.
Oh, you got something.
And they can use, and like a lot of those casinos funnel money back into the community, make massive donations to hospitals, like building infrastructure. It's massive. Like it has a really positive effect on the community. There's issues around, you know, gambling and the impact that has on society and the community and stuff. But
I mean, they could have built heroin plants, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot worse things they could have done. So, you know, they sell tobacco a lot cheaper because, like, you know, tobacco is a sacred plant to some Native American cultures because that's where tobacco comes from.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like,
that kind of stuff.
Like smoking chocolate in the Aztec culture.
Did they smoke chocolate? Or they just drank
That's how chocolate was originally consumed.
I thought it was just drunk. I thought it was made into a drink.
I thought, I'm only pulling... My sources are really sketchy. It's The Simpsons.
Oh, where are we up
like
to?
they had like a small bit on like the Aztecs like smoking chocolate.
No. How many Aboriginal languages are there still around? I'm sure a couple went extinct. Oh, buddy. Alrighty. Native Australian.
Got him revved up. Got his motor running.
So prior to, hang on. It is believed that there were almost 400 Australian Aboriginal and Torres Strait languages at the time of first European contact. Most of these are now either extinct or moribund, which basically means there are only like old native speakers that don't have anyone to pass it on to. With only about 15 languages still being spoken among all age groups of the relevant tribes. So from 400 to 15. Like there are still, I think there are still like 120 that still exist. Yeah, over 200, yeah, less than 20 are still in daily use by all age groups.
So going back to what Chink Safar said, you know, you all did the apology thing right. Sure, we said sorry, but we haven't really done anything.
Oh, we're getting it. Like,
from be argued that the apology was just a scapegoat to inaction.
From the having never been to the States and having never been to the Americas and not really knowing the situation there, it looks like we did a lot. It looks like Australia did a lot more damage.
To what?
To native cultures.
Yeah.
And the reparations we've made are not nearly as significant.
So we still kind of like not allow them to do things, whereas, you know, American Indians can do way more, like build casinos. Yeah.
I'm not saying that they haven't got big problems. They got big problems. And like there's still a long way to go for reparations to be made, et cetera, et cetera. But
neck is our trademark.
But like Aboriginal Australians are the most incarcerated people per capita in the world.
That's true. The US just has an incarcerated population.
Yeah, they got a massive.
It's equal because they incarcerate.
Everyone, like African Americans are way overrepresented in American jails, but I'm sure we can get back to that. Where are we? Native land in US is kind of sovereign, which lets them construct casinos. Yeah, so that's the thing that we're missing in Australia. Native title in Australia is just title. That's it. It's not native land. There's in the Northern Territory. There's some before native title came in. They introduced something to do with like land reconciliation or something where they actually gave the land back, but they kind of stamped that out pretty quickly. So that didn't happen all that much. What do we got? It's illegal on federal land, but not on reservations. I imagine that's got to do with native land in US. Yeah, I imagine that's got to do with gambling or casinos or something. They can cultivate and consume peyote on native land as well. A packet of 30 cigarettes in Australia is over $40 US. For real? Why so much?
So what it means, really?
Yeah, Australia's we massively tax tobacco.
Yeah, tobacco, alcohol.
Yeah, no, we massively tax.
Thing that was,
We've got some of the most expensive alcohol in the world. Some of the most expensive tobacco. Not tobacco. Tobacco gets pretty heavily taxed in Muslim countries like Malaysia. Massively taxed in Malaysia. Really.
Like I said, like Australia's a nanny state. Imagine a nanny. Everyone has to sleep by 9 o'clock. We don't need fast internet so you can watch more porn, Australia.
Oh, wow. Only certain tribes can use peyote, not mine. I'm the last living fluent speaker of Mandan after my teacher died. Wow. That's.
So practically what it means for us is that the only thing how this relates to me is that, my friend who is part Aborigine can do hunting on his sovereign soil, and I cannot. So they're allowed to kill koalas if they want.
According to Wikipedia, the Mandan is an extinct Siouan language. Not yet, because Chingsapa still speaks it. Hopefully you can, I don't know, pass it on to someone.
Man, I want to go boat fishing too, but I'm not Aborigine, so...
You can still go boat fishing.
Just not legally.
What?
You can't do bow fishing.
Bow fishing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But they can.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's their land.
Yeah.
They just can't commercialize it. They can't do a bow fishing tour. They can just do it.
Only certain tribes can use peyote. Interesting. They tax the crap out of it and put that money towards the health system. Except for Mick, he got out of jail less incarcerated than usual at the moment. He got out of jail less incarcerated than usual at the moment. I assume you're talking about the... I don't know whether or not Oz Tourist is talking about Australian Indigenous Australians being less incarcerated than usual at the moment, or African Americans. I'm sure it helps keep smoking rates low as well. Can cigarettes in Oz be branded, or do they have those health warnings levied?
If you look at the numbers, we got the lowest incarceration rates in the world.
Yeah, we've got health warnings levied. Plain packaging came in the 90s, I think.
Plain packaging, as in
cigarettes.
Health warning.
Yeah.
Is that plain packaging? It doesn't look very plain.
You can't put branding on it.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So you can't jazz it up.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can't hold up a pack and go, why don't you smoke a Camel with your mates?
Okay.
You know?
And that's why they kind of don't smoke in movies anymore. Is that right?
People still smoke in movies.
Yeah, but not to the extent of the smoke.
I think that's more just a cultural thing. I mean, we just don't smoke as much. There's actually I've seen some push to make smoking
more accessible.
Illegal, you won't be able to purchase cigarettes without a prescription from your doctor.
Wow.
Yeah, which I think it's a step in the wrong direction.
Really?
Yeah, no, people still need to have liberty.
I guess so.
Yeah, people.
Why don't we have weed? Why don't we have the...
Well, I mean that's actually changing. It's
Hopefully.
Oh, it is. I've got a mate who has a prescription for CBD oil. Nice. And takes it daily. Yeah, it's not been big news, but marijuana's been slowly legalizing in Australia bit by bit.
We can suddenly be
New South Wales is one of the last places where it's not legal to possess marijuana. Yeah, guilty Gladys.
She's not the fan of 420.
Oh, we don't have much of a shisha culture. Satoshi asked, "Do you have a shisha culture?" Not really. I've had a
shisha places.
Yeah,
they're allowed to be established. So if
But they don't have marijuana. It's all like tobacco or just flavor.
Oh yeah. It's just like various tobacco flavors.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can have a peach tobacco.
But yeah, no, it's in the ACT. It's legal to have up to 2 marijuana plants per household.
Oh.
Yeah. It's legal to grow it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Not that I would do that sort of thing.
I would, man.
I'd do it at your place. Don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't do it at my place.
Yeah, fair enough. Your landlord's like right there.
No, they don't live in the house.
Oh, okay. Is the rest of the house leased out as well?
Yeah.
Oh, but you're not exactly. You don't have that much privacy when it comes to scent wafting out onto the breeze.
I guess not.
Yeah.
I mean, like the buildings are next to each other.
Yeah.
But then again, like, I don't know, like smoking to me has always been sort of like just a hygienic thing. Just I don't want my house smelling like.
Big tobacco would not allow that in the US. They are in the pockets of many politicians. There's so much money in tobacco, and there will be until big tobacco switches their assets to cannabis. Yeah, that's like...
That's like fuel.
Basically, like Australia kind of like that. They tried to do that in Australia as well. The big tobacco was big in Australia as well, but like we basically stamped down on them. Like our Australian culture is a lot more.
Back when our politicians meant something.
Well, that's a whole nother story.
Whitlam, Gough Spitland.
Yeah, we kind of stamped out big tobacco as a thing, and we didn't counter them. Like we don't have as much of a corruption issue as America does.
Yeah, you guys are run by corporations at this point.
Yeah.
Can't wait for you.
That's what will happen in the UK too. I bet we are some of the world's largest exporters, but it's legal to possess in any quantity. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is why we should all make armor and seize the means of production.
Yeah. Some really interesting things coming out of Canada at the moment around cannabis, because it's been legal there for a while. So they're like I follow a genetic engineering and biology type bioengineering channel on YouTube, and the guy interviewed he does the gene splicing and shit. Like he made yeast that he made a strain of yeast that produces spider silk. To give you some idea of where this guy's at. It's very cool. But he interviewed a guy, the CEO or CFO of a company in Canada that I think in Quebec or Montreal or something. I don't know. My Canadian geography is not any good.
It's all Quebec.
Sure.
In Quebec. You're not in Quebec. Montreal, Quebec.
Yeah, they're producing yeast that they're engineering yeast that produces cannabinoids.
Ooh.
So like they're making weed products in a vat, far more efficient than growing it with a plant. Because you just give it nutrients and it makes pot in a vat,
cool.
and you just extract it, and then you've got cannabinoids. Like it's pretty crazy.
Weedy bread.
Yeah.
Weed bread.
Many politicians in US who fight against the legalization of cannabis are already invested in it deeply, basically giving themselves a head start. Yeah.
We're also restoring a helmet, just on the side.
Yeah, no, cannabis is legal for medicinal use in Australia. You can get a prescription.
Yeah, all right. So what was protectionism again?
Protectionism. All right. So. Welfare boards were established. How much time do we have left on this stream? We've got 7 minutes.
Yeah, well, 2 minutes. Talk for 2 minutes and then do a shell for the stream.
Welfare boards were established in the states of Australia, so New South Wales, Queensland, Victoria, South Australia, blah. The welfare boards basically were entrusted with the care of the Aborigines.
Very nice.
Oh yeah.
Universe of truth. But it's that whole it's that whole notion of like they can't take care of themselves, so we'll take care of them for them, and like that removing their freedoms to take care of them, the way you do a child.
Oh wow.
You know, and that's kind of
that's taking care of people, I guess.
Yeah, but like not sustainably, and not with any dignity.
Yeah.
Not affording them their human rights, that's the whole like UN thing that has come about in the past 30 years. I think the human rights, the Declaration of Human Rights was in the 90s, was it?
I'm not really across that, so I'll take your word for it. So what's protection?
No, 48. Sorry, no, that was 48. Wow, that's a long time ago.
So that's protecting.
Yeah, protecting people.
Protecting.
Yeah, quote unquote, protecting people by taking away their freedoms, basically.
That's the entire iRobot movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's what happened in Australia for a long time. Yeah.
So obviously, Americans need protectionism from their guns. Don't treat guns like people.
Maybe y'all just need to not own assault rifles.
It's my God-given right, man. Jesus came down into my house and said, "You are allowed an assault rifle." Because Jesus had assault rifles.
Like
nailed to the cross with an M16, man.
Like if y'all have organized militias, that makes sense for you to have weapons because there's regulated militia. The keyword's regulated, right? They don't regulate this. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into an argument about American gun rights. No argument. I'm not gonna get into a rant. I don't want to get into a rant on that.
That was the British fault, right? Because they wrote that in response to having a British governing power. Yeah.
That's the Second Amendment. That's after they won the war and wrote the Constitution and declared their independence and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's the Second Amendment. So they'd already had the U.S. government by that point. I don't know. I'm not massively knowledgeable on U.S. history, but it's the Second Amendment.
But that part about militia and right to bear arms was to, I think, avoid a situation where
Yeah, it's to avoid it to be able to be a check and balance to a tyrannical government. But the power that the government now has, you can't trump. They've got drones and
you can't.
They got drones. They got massive firepower. So it's not muskets v muskets anymore. They got nukes.
So obviously, the right situation for this check and balancing is to give everyone nukes.
That's what happened in the Cold War. No.
If the government has nukes.
The people should have nukes. We, the people, should have nuclear arsenal.
I don't know how the George Washington thing goes, but yes. Martin Luther King. I only know Martin Luther King.
It is kind of ridiculous, the guns. The police are militarized as well. Yeah, what's up with that? Why the police got assault rifles?
Because it takes a good guy with a gun to stop a bad guy.
No. It takes culture. It takes listening and understanding and talking.
I'm sure that'll work with the Iraq War.
I mean,
listen, Hassan.
That's what diplomacy is.
Listen, Hassan. You really want those WMDs got there.
I watched a video this morning. Well, I started to watch a video, but it turned out it was content I'd already seen. It was Jordan Peterson. He was talking about. The video was entitled "To All of the Mass Shooters, Past, Present, and Future," and he basically read a chapter from his book, from 12 Rules for Life.
Oh, okay.
But it was the idea of why people, how people come to the point where they believe that that's the right course of action. should I take out all the fixings or just cut
But
the
I'll come back to that in the next stream because we're running out of time. So tune into the next stream. There we go.
There you go, like you got the claw. There you go.
Tune into the next stream to hear me talk about how to make mass shooters not happen. We're going to solve the world's problems bit by bit.
Yeah. The cliff notes is don't do it.
I mean, the cliff notes are a bit more than that. The police have tanks. The police have tanks.
APCs, but yeah.
Yeah.
Which is not a tank, but yeah.
Well, I don't know.
It's like a Bradley. It's like a light.
What's a Bradley?
Oh, okay. So this is like an armored fighting vehicle. So it's like a tank with wheels, but it's not a tank because it's like light armor.
Yeah.
And it has a high caliber gun. But it's not anti-tank shells.
Yeah, we got 45 seconds. You guys are sound, putting the world to rights. I could share a beer with you guys anytime. Well, funnily enough, I've got plenty of beer because I brew my own stuff, and we should do another brew stream.
Yeah, brew with bros.
Brewing with senpai.
Oh well, sure, I'll be there. Oh wow.
We can get Deputy Premier John Barilaro and do brewing with bros.
But I don't want to invite him over to my place. Do you really want him over?
Not really, no.
Yeah, then don't invite him over. Don't invite people you don't.
Yes, Jumper. Do we have the link for YouTube up?
We don't. It's
No.
all minimal.
All right. Well, we'll chuck it on the next one. But yeah, tune into the next stream. If you are on YouTube, then this will be uninterrupted. But if you're on Reddit, then you're about to run out of time. Bye. Tune into the next stream to hear more.
Upvote and follow, all that stuff.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
You timed out ages ago. Yeah. It's so good having you here with you on top of that stuff and leading the convo.
Yeah.
I'm just
Start
good at playing
streaming.
devil's advocate.
3. Start stream. So it begins once more. I'm going to get another cup of tea.
What?
I'm going to get another cup of tea. I'll be right back.
Take my with you. Just iterate to yourself. Surround sound. Okay, so that's how that comes up. All pins. I hope that's all the pins. Okay. This piece looks alright. Didn't know they fixed it on. Should I do this to them? Yeah, turn this off. Alright, so I'm kind of have to go. Fuck. Scraping all that crap out.
What up, folks? Welcome back to the stream.
This is a really weird combination, like armor smithing and just listening to
And
whatever you're studying in
sociology.
Oh, sociology.
Sociology.
The shogunate would be proud.
So what are you working on?
Refurb.
Ashwin? It's not focusing on the camera, it's focusing on your shoulder.
Oh yeah. Well, I can't. It's hard to get that angle whilst I'm doing.
Yeah. I feel like if I get it over here.
You could also raise it up a bit more, but
Here we go. There we go. Are you just scraping the glue off?
yeah, pretty much because I researched how to do the lining properly.
Mm-hmm.
So what we had before was pretty shit.
It's a helm, folks.
Obviously, the Chinese do not like the Japanese because when they replicate their armor, they produce it in the crappiest way possible. So this is the lining that I tore out, and I knew okay. So this is the lining that I tore out. It's in a bowl shape because it's a flat piece of material that they sewed in a spiral, and the spiral being basically pinching at small points to make it spherical. So they made this lining, and then basically they just glued the edges to the outside, which is not how they did it.
Yeah.
Right? So the way to do this is that you're supposed to punch and drill holes, and then
You're supposed to
stitch it.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
They had similar linings for helms in Europe as well. They didn't do this kind of stuff with the hole, with bunching it to make it spherical, but yeah, cool.
Yeah. So I was thinking, how am I going to address this? How am I going to fix it? Because I tore it out so I could preserve the lining. Tore it out to preserve the lining, which I don't know if I'll even use again. So I tore it out so I could hammer the inside out. So that's how we sort of semi-restored it to a spherical shape. This plate suffered the most damage.
Yeah.
And in fixing this, we also undented the back. So there was a tumor growing out the back because all the force was going down the front of the helmet, bending the helmet back. So in pushing this back out, this lessened the pressure on the back. So now we don't have tumor at the back, although I am told that is the shape.
Okay.
So that's normal.
That kind of mushrooming there.
Yeah. That's normal. Yes, as I was saying before, I was researching how to put the lining back, and I'm going to need to punch holes in this. But in this case, cordless drill some holes, and because there's no way I'm going to punch through this. Yeah, no way. No way. And so in punching and in punching those holes, no, you're gonna give your TED talk.
I'll wait until we have comments.
Oh right, so I'm the warm up act, eh? Man, I'm being upstaged on my own stream. No, just let it happen. It's cool. So I need to clean out all this glue because they took the cheap way out. They didn't punch holes. They didn't stitch it together. They just literally glued the material directly onto the metal. And that's quite frankly shit. So we're cleaning out this glue. Just as before, the front and back of the dough was also glued with lining. But then again, I don't think the samurai I think the samurai did have lining, but I don't think they glued it on. Probably not. Glue didn't exist back then, but it did have lacquers, so they could have lacquered it on.
Historical glue.
I think they had lacquers at most.
Rice glue.
Oh yeah. Okay, so we're gonna get a whole bunch of rice.
Yeah, man.
Just squish porridge all over the armor. But yeah, as we were saying before, this is filled with glue, so I'm trying to clean it all off and replace it with some actual Japanese manufacturing here. So I got to scrape the cheap Chinese stuff off, basically. And that's where we are. So we're just addressing this glue a bit by bit.
From at least 3 types of red seaweed found along the coastlines of Japan. It has been used for hundreds of years. It's mainly Japanese silk painting, but it's still used today for many repair projects.
Cool.
That doesn't sound like it.
I don't know if like they used glue in Japanese samurai armor construction. They stitched the lining on, so I'm going to do that. And maybe I'll order in some like goat's hide. I don't know if I can get deer skin. I don't think I can get a deer skin. And apparently, if I want to make it SCA safe, there is a added measure of glue, well, actually gluing like foam wedges into the helmet so it doesn't ring. Yeah, so I think I'll take that liberty. What happened to your audience? Oh, they're back. You can get deer hide, but not Rust-Oleum. Oh, boy. I don't think I can get deer hide, is what he said.
Yeah, and you had Rust-Oleum. You showed it.
Exactly. I don't... Didn't you hear that entire formal apology, Jay Parra?
Savage!
Like, first of all, he's wrong on 2 accounts.
Oh dear.
1, we do have Rust-Oleum, so... And 2, I don't know if we can get deer hide.
I know where we can get deer hide.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh man, hook me up. Be a deer. It's expensive. I only need like a strip of it. I don't know what Rust-Oleum is. I think it's just, all I got was the Rust-Oleum clear coat, right? You're asking me to put clear coat onto my paint? Is that what you're asking? Because like the paint has its own glossy layer that inherently emerges once it dries. So I feel like that's just extra steps. The great emu Hey, you got an audience.
Oh yeah. So the great emu No emus died.
Didn't we lose that war?
Yeah, we lost that war.
We lost against emus.
Yeah.
How did that happen? What is that? Is that a cold that just never happened?
The Emu War, also known as the Great Emu War, was a nuisance wildlife management military operation undertaken in Australia over the latter part of 1932 to address public concern over the number of emus that were running amok in the Campion district of Western Australia.
Oh, okay. All right. I can't believe we lost that.
All right.
Can't believe we lost that.
There's also white paint Rust-Oleum that has glossy finish the same as your paint you're using. It adds protection and great finish.
I'm using an equivalent enamel. I can show you what it is, but I'm pretty sure it's equivalent, right? Well, that's at least what the Bunnings people told me. What is your Rust-Oleum? What advantages does that have over this? So I have a metal shield epoxy enamel. So that's what I'm using. Protects against rust and corrosion. It's a metal paint, and it also leaves a glossy finish. which is also means clear coat. So I'm not sure what your Rust-Oleum is providing me here. But and bear in mind that this original white paint is nobody's paint. I haven't even painted this yet. This is the original paint that came off the Chinese presses.
All in one. There is a glory to be won. That's Jim Jeffries. Can't fool me. What?
Are they talking about the Rust-Oleum?
Lexi's sending me music videos.
All in one, okay. I don't know, that enamel paint is also another all-in-one, just because is Rust-Oleum the brand? Is that what it is? I want to take a look. Is that Rust-Oleum a brand? Yeah, okay. So, Rust-Oleum is a brand. Isn't it? Yeah, I think it's a brand. Looks like it's just a brand. Yeah, Rust-Oleum Corporation. I'm using Dulux. Oh, God.
Oh, God.
In the trash, that's where. Oh, boy.
Oh, God.
That song is West Virginia, right?
Yeah, Country Road.
So Japan, like they basically do covers of like famous Western songs, and like the Japanese version is Country Road.
Yeah.
It's just called Country Road. There's no West Virginia. It's just Country Road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what the song's called.
Huh?
Know what the song's called?
No, I thought it was like West Virginia. No? I don't know. No, but there's no mention
It's
of.
called Take Me Home Country Roads.
Yeah, okay. So in Japan, it's just Country Road, and like they make no mention of West Virginia. They just say they're just talking about a road that takes them home. Anyway, I don't know what Jim Jeffries is. Enamel's good too.
You don't know
Yeah, okay.
Jim Jeffries?
Yes, Rust-Oleum is brand. Christ, man. Okay, fine. Thanks. Jeez, stop roasting me. I don't know my paints, okay? I don't know my Duluxes.
Yes, Rust-Oleum is the brand. Christ, mate.
Fuck. I don't know my Duluxes from my White Knights.
Do you not know Jim Jeffries, the Australian stand-up comedian? He lives in Australian America. Like he's Australian. I think he makes art in America too. But yeah, he's a comedian in the States, and he's an Aussie, and he's 40.
Okay.
He's pretty funny.
I don't know him.
He's very Australian.
Very Australian?
Very Australian.
Okay, more Australian than Russell Crowe?
Yeah. Considering Russell Crowe, he is a Kiwi.
Oof. Why is he like, I don't know, why do we idolize him then? Was it just Gladiator? Was that it?
I guess.
But he wasn't even Australian in that movie.
He was born in Wellington, New Zealand.
Ah, but Wellington is just a place. Don't know.
Although a New Zealand citizen, he has lived most of his life in Australia. All that.
Okay, well, there you go. He chose the right country, he did. Did you read that? You probably haven't read it, but the author to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, he recently wrote an excerpt of describing Australia in a similar kind of writing style. Yeah. Like one of the passages was like, oh, they name like Australia is a country on Earth, blah 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 blah, and like they have a bite-sized shape carved out of the southern part of their country, which they label the Great Australian Bite, misspelling a word. which might suggest a more ominous fate. Ominous fate. It's a good read. And like it goes on to say, oh, of the 10 deadliest spiders of the world, Australia has 9 of them. And it's also correct to say that of the 9 most deadliest spiders, Australia has all of them. But anyway, Gladiator had immortalized them. I guess so. But I don't know. That Superman movie, though.
What?
That Superman movie, though. We're talking about Russell Crowe. He was...
What Superman? Oh, he played like...
his dad.
Yeah.
Who was not named Martha. But I don't know much about that movie because I didn't watch any of the DC stuff because it felt like too much of a knockoff of Marvel stuff. They were trying to do the same things and I didn't watch the one and watch the same thing twice. Like, DC was good for the Batman series, like when Christopher Nolan was at the helm, but then he wasn't, then I didn't like it. I don't know, I guess I only watched the DC movies because of Christopher Nolan. Like, I just enjoyed Nolan stuff. Inception, Batman series. But, you know, I felt it was right, you know, where Nolan left it and where Christian Bale left it. It was a good end. I think that's pretty clean, just gotta sand it all out. Oh, you're actually getting into studies now? You're no longer doing your talks?
What?
You're actually doing your studies now, not doing your talks anymore? Because, like, you were going on about protectionism and stuff. And, like, I'm assuming your crowd is back because, you know, the crowd is... Jay Power is here. He's obviously here for you. He's not here for me. Jay Power doesn't sound Japanese enough to me. He's got 2 letters right, JP, and then that's where it ends. It goes all wrong from there.
I'm running out of steam.
Steam? Oh,
Running out of steam here.
what time is it, by the way? Oh, it's 9.
9:20.
Okay.
I had my long range.
I thought the tea was supposed to help.
Yeah. I'm good.
I'm just cleaning this out. I don't know how I'm going to do the punches. Probably it's just going to be punch and drill. That's how this is going to work. There's also a lot of rust underneath this paint, which I'm kind of anxious about, because if it's underneath here, like how far does it spread? So you've decided on the topic? I'm assuming you decided before you started the rant.
Yeah.
Which is... What option was that?
Australian policy has caused ongoing damage to Aboriginal culture.
Yeah, okay.
Which is going to be pretty easy.
What's the most damaging, you think?
I don't know, man.
Stuff. Oh, man. But other than Gladiator, I haven't seen Russell Crowe in a lot of things. So yeah. I mean, like he had appeared in Gladiator, and that's all I know him from.
Les Mis?
Nope.
No, you haven't seen Les Mis.
I don't even know what that's about.
Les Miserables?
Oh no, I didn't watch that.
Oh, yeah. A Beautiful Mind.
I do know of that one. That one's the one with Matt Damon. Yeah, Matt Damon.
Russell Crowe.
No, Beautiful Mind.
Russell Crowe.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of Robin Williams and
I think you're thinking of, you're thinking of...
Finding Forrester.
No, Good Will Hunting.
Yeah, that's the one. What's Finding Forrester? What movie?
Jay Power 574 says, I would love to be here for you too, but it just seems like you're expending too much energy doing something that can be done easy with tools you have there.
You mean tools I don't have there? Don't have here.
Yeah.
What, a sandblaster? I don't have one. We've established this.
Unhinged?
No, I haven't seen that.
Robin Hood.
Oh, I've seen that actually.
Yep. The Nice Guy.
Nope.
Noah.
Heard of it. Know how the story ends. Didn't watch it.
The Next 3 Days. A
Mm,
Good Year. Cinderella Man. Master and Commander.
Master and Commander I've seen.
The Water Divine.
Nope, don't know what that is.
American
Heard of that one.
Gangster. LA Confidential. The Mummy.
What tools do I have here? You just suggested Sandblaster. That's all you suggested. Sandblaster and Rust-Oleum, which doesn't contribute to sanding.
State of Play. Man of Steel. Three Sense of Humor.
Yeah, Man of Steel, yes.
The Insider.
Nope.
Fathers and Daughters. Romper Stomper. Proof of Life.
Proof of Life. Oh yeah, Proof of Life.
The Quick and the Dead. For Your Race. Body of Life. Broken City. The History of the Kelly Gang. The Georgetown Project. Virtuosity. Winter's Tale. The Man with the Iron Fist. The Silver Brumbies. Mystery Alaska. The Sum of Us. War Machine. Proof.
War
No
Machine?
Way Back. Breaking Up. The Crossing. Tenderness. Turtle Odyssey. Heaven's Burning. Boys. Hammers Over the
No, that's not good.
Rough Magic. Love in Limbo. Ultimate Fight. Texas. 30-odd foot of grunts.
That's not going to work because the metal is actually cutting the sanding wheel, so I can't actually use that. It's a very awkward shape. But I could possibly use a Dremel, but that would take ages. This would also take ages. Yeah, cool. I think I've seen like 5 of those. Stand corrected.
Bam!
Are you just too tired to do anything so you couldn't? Is that spending your time? Do you not have plans for all the timber you brought here?
I do, but I'm not working on it much.
No. You're just waiting to go. Come on, man. It's like you're here.
I ranted for like an hour, and then now I'm worn out.
Well, drink more tea. I don't know. Swap the tea out for coffee. Swap the tea out for coffee.
I'm gonna go to bed in like an hour.
Ugh. It's true. Oh, no. I think the best approach here is to just go plate by plate with this sanding. Okay. We don't need to sand all the way through. We just need so it's smooth so we could vaguely paint it. Jeez, what is that? I don't even know what that is. So we scraped most of the glue off. We're currently just sanding off the tiny little bits that scraper couldn't reach. I also find that the rim of this helmet is really bent out of shape as well, so I'm gonna have to reshape that with pliers maybe. So what should I do for next time? Just like make sure you don't rant too much? Alright, well, you just chill out, I guess. Can I scrape that out? Maybe let's just scrape it. Yeah, scraping's faster. Nice. Right. Scraping this bit out. Need a higher grit.
Act number 25, 1907, Aborigines Protection.
Mm-hmm.
An act to provide for the protection and care of Aborigines, to repeal the Supply of Liquor to Aborigines Prevention Act
to amend the Vacancy Act 1902 and the Police Offences Amendment Act 1908, as for purposes consequent thereon or incidental thereto. Be it enacted by the King's most excellent Majesty, by and with the advice and consent of the Legislative Council and Legislative Assembly of New South Wales in Parliament assembled, and by the authority of the same as follows. This Act may be cited as the Aborigines Protection Act 1909 and shall come into force on a date to be fixed by proclamation of the Governor in the Gazette. The Act specified in the schedule hereto are, to the extent indicated, repealed. In this Act, unless the context or subject matter otherwise indicates or requires, Aborigine means any full-blooded Aboriginal native of Australia, and any person apparently having an admixture of Aboriginal blood who applies for or is in receipt of rations or aid from the Board or is residing on a reserve. Board means Board for Protection of Aborigines constituted under this Act. Liquor means and includes wine, spirits, beer, porter, stout, ale, cider, perry, or any spirituous or fermented fluid whatever capable of producing intoxication. Local committee means committee appointed by the Board to act in conjunction with the Board under this Act. Prescribed means prescribed by this Act or the regulations. Reserve means area of land heretofore or hereafter reserved from sale or lease by the Governor, or given by or acquired from any private person for the use of Aborigines. Regulation means regulations enforced under this Act. Stations means stations on reserves. There shall be a board to be styled the Board for Protection of Aborigines, to consist of the Inspector General of Police or Acting Inspector General of Police, who shall ex officio be chairman, and not more than 10 other members who shall be appointed by the Governor. The Board shall, subject to the direction of the Minister, be the authority for the protection and care of Aborigines under this Act. The Board shall annually elect one of its members as Vice Chairman. The Board may appoint managers of stations and such other officers as may be necessary. The Board may appoint local committees consisting of not more than 7 or less than 3 persons to act in conjunction with the Board, and also officers to be called guardians of Aborigines, and may at any time abolish such local committees or remove any members therefrom or cancel the appointment of any guardians. Such committees and guardians shall exercise and perform the powers and duties prescribed by this Act and regulations. It shall be the duty of the Board to, with the consent of the Minister, apportion, distribute, and apply as may seem most fitting, any monies voted by Parliament and any other funds in its possession or control for the relief of Aborigines, to distribute blankets, clothing, and relief to Aborigines at the discretion of the Board, to provide for the custody, maintenance, and education of the children of Aborigines, to maintain and regulate the use of reserves, to exercise the general supervision and care over all matters affecting the interests and welfare of Aborigines, and to protect them against injustice, imposition, and fraud. All reserves shall be vested in the Board, and it shall not be lawful for any person other than an Aborigine or an officer under the Board, or a person acting under the Board's direction or under the authority of the regulations, to enter or remain upon or be within the limits of a reserve upon which Aborigines are residing for any purpose whatsoever. The Board may remove from a reserve any Aborigine who is guilty of any misconduct, or who, in the opinion of the Board, should be earning a living away from such reserve. Any building erected on a reserve shall be vested in the property of the Board. Also, all cattle, horses, sheep, and machinery, and property thereon purchased or acquired for the benefit of Aborigines. Any person who gives, sells, or supplies, except in case of accident or in the prescription of a duly qualified medical practitioner, any liquor to any Aborigine shall be guilty of an offence against this Act. Nothing in this section shall affect the operation of the Liquor Amendment Act 1905. Whosoever, not being an Aborigine or the child of an Aborigine, lodges or wanders in company with an Aborigine, and does not, on being required by a justice, give to his satisfaction a good account that he has a lawful fixed place of residence in New South Wales, and lawful means of support, and that he so lodged or wandered for some temporary and lawful occasion only, and did not continue so to do beyond such occasion, shall be guilty of an offence against this Act. So you're not allowed to wander with Aborigines.
Today we learned about
Back in 1909, you weren't allowed.
to walk around.
lodge, or wander in company with any Aboriginal. You can't walk down the street with an Aboriginal person. That was bold. That was the law.
Wow. How is that protectionism? How's that protecting someone?
So, like, it's distinct segregation, right? So, the reserves are for all of the Aboriginal people to live, but nothing there can be owned by those people. They cannot develop any form of wealth. All buildings, all machines, all any building erected on reserve shall be vested in and become the property of the board. Also, all cattle, horses, pigs, sheep, machinery, and property thereon purchased or acquired for the benefit of that wood. Anything that's acquired to the reserve becomes property of the government. Any building erected becomes property of the government.
So anything they built, owned, as they live there,
build the machines,
doesn't belong to them.
No.
Wow.
Yep.
So, that must suck.
And it's illegal to sell. It's illegal to give an Aboriginal person alcohol.
Or money.
Or money.
Or food.
I don't know about that. But you're also not allowed to let them into your house.
Strange.
You're not allowed to let them sleep in your house, or walk down the street.
Okay. So obviously they have to dance everywhere.
You can't wander in company with me.
Oh, it's okay. Oh, he's not in my company. We have a partnership. Man, what a time to be not alive in.
Board may, in accordance with the provisions of the Apprentices Act 1901, by indenture, bind or force be bound the child of any Aborigine, or the neglected child of any person apparently having an admixture of Aboriginal blood in his veins, to be apprenticed to any master, and may collect and institute proceedings for the recovery of any wages payable under such indenture, and may expend the same as the board may think fit in the interest of the child. So any child of an Aboriginal person, the government can indenture.
What's indenture?
Indentured servitude is basically slavery with extra steps.
Oh, okay.
But basically, they're able to take an Aboriginal child and say, okay, you work for this person now, and we're going to get paid for it. It's slavery. So the board may, in accordance with and subject to the provisions of the Apprentices Act, by indenture, bind or cause to be bound the child of any Aborigine or the neglected child of any person apparently having an Aborigine. So any child of an Aborigine or the neglected child of anyone who is vaguely Aboriginal, because they had this idea of purity and half caste and all that jazz.
Oh, great.
To be apprenticed to any master, and may collect and institute proceedings for the recovery of any wages payable under such indenture, and may expend the same as the board may think fit in the interest of the child. So,
stir up and move out. No.
So, the government can take any Aboriginal child, or any child of someone that they believe is partially Aboriginal, that they claim is neglected, and give them to someone for indentured servitude.
Wow, not even
and
kid.
Collect the money.
Not even adoption. Just
indenture.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's just an avenue for slavery.
This is 1909. This is 111 years ago.
Yeah. So just to be in context, like the founding of Australia was when?
The Federation was 1901.
Yeah, okay. So that's when like all the Australian states were formed.
Yeah, well, the states were formed before Australia was formed, before the Federation.
Yeah, but the Federation is uniting them all under one rule.
Yeah. So the federal government came into place in 1901.
Oh, okay.
New South Wales.
Thank God we didn't have a Sengoku Jidai, which is like the Warring States period
Yeah.
of
But
Japan. Did we?
Yeah.
We had a Warring States period where everyone...
Basically, like the states went to war with each other, but the colony of New South Wales was established in 1788.
Okay. All right. So roughly 100 years. Roughly 100 years from the founding of Australia to establish slavery.
Established in New South Wales law under the Protections Act, but it was definitely happening before then.
Yeah. Okay. It just wasn't legal yet.
Every child so apprenticed shall be under the supervision of the board or of such person as may be authorised in that behalf by the regulations. Any such child so apprenticed shall be liable to be proceeded against and punished for absconding or for other misconduct in the same way as any child apprenticed by his father with such child's consent. For the purposes of this Act, the words neglected child shall have the same meaning as that assigned to them in the Neglected Children and Juvenile Offenders Act 1905, provided that for such purposes a person shall be deemed a child who is above 14 and under 21 years of age. Nothing in this section shall affect the provisions of the Neglected Child Juvenile Offenders Act 1905. The court, upon complaints made by the board that any person to whom any such child has been apprenticed is not performing the conditions of such indenture, or is unfit to have the further care or control of such apprentice, may summon such person to answer such complaints, and on proof thereof, on oath may order such apprenticeship to be put an end to. In this section, the court has the meaning given in the Neglected Children and Juvenile Offenders Act 1905. Any person who entices a child apprentice as aforesaid to leave his lawful service, or who entices the child of any aborigine, or of any person apparently having an admixture of aboriginal blood in his veins, to leave any school, home, or institution without the consent of the board shall be guilty of an offence against this act. So you can't entice a child to leave school, home, or institution.
So escape from slavery. By the way, 20 seconds on thing. Do you mind restarting? We'll go for one more cycle, then we'll get out of here.
How long was that?
Oh wait, we said we leave at 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, so till 10 is when we're doing it. So we'll leave Twitch on. We won't restart Reddit. Thanks for coming. It's actually already finished.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Generally, I like to plug out the 5-minute mark. But,
Yeah.
Oh well. But it's good work. Did the second cut of that. Getting this on the way. There's a lot of rust to attend to. But still faster than making your own, I guess. But then again, you have the added speed of making it from scratch, and hopefully you won't be making it out of rusted materials. So you don't have to deal with rust in that case. But I guess I saved time in manufacturing. Manufacturing took me a year. Because I didn't really have, like, consistent time in the shop.
The board may cause any aborigine or any person apparently having an admixture of aboriginal blood in their veins who attend or are about to attend within or near any reserved town or township to remove to such distance from the reserved town or township as they may direct. So basically, any Aboriginal person or partially any Aboriginal person, they can tell them to fuck off. You can tell them to leave town.
And never come back.
To not be near town. To not be near the reserve legally. And, like, they can move them on.
Wow.
Without any reason. Every blanket or other article issued by the government or by the board to any aborigine shall be considered to be on loan only, and to be the property of the board, and any unauthorized person other than an aborigine who has in his possession or custody any blanket or other article or portion thereof, which reasonably appears from the marks thereon, or otherwise to have been so issued, shall be guilty of an offence. So, if the government reckons that you have in your possession
a blanket
or other article thereof that looks like it was issued by the government, then you're guilty of an offence.
What? So they're not allowed blankets?
Anything apportioned to Aborigines is on loan.
Ah.
It still belongs to the board. If it looks like you say you as a non-Aboriginal person have anything in your possession that looks like it
issued?
like it might belong to an Aborigine because it doesn't actually belong to them, because nothing belongs to them, because they don't get to own anything, then you're guilty of an offence.
So if I have a didgeridoo?
I don't know, maybe.
Because that belongs to Aborigine. So if I have a boomerang?
It appears to have court on the complaint filed on behalf of the court that any near relative resolves ability to maintain or contribute to the maintenance of the cost of the government of any child of an Aborigine under 16 and over 5 years of age, the court may on summons or such near relative pay up to the board a reasonable sum in accordance otherwise the court directs for or towards the past maintenance of such child, whether such child be alive or not at the time of the application. Oh! So basically,
I get paid for dead children?
like, if the government finds out that a kid that is under their care or was under their care has any relatives, they can order that relative to give them money.
Okay.
For the care of the child.
Okay. So that's just like alimony.
Kind of.
But they're not allowed to make money. Right? So I'm...
Even if the child's dead.
Wow.
So like, oh hey, that child died. Oh, it turns out they had an uncle. Hey, by the way, you owe us a bunch of money. Now we're ordering you to give us money for your dead child.
Great. So they could just kidnap children, kill them, and order their parents.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. What do you think the Stolen Generation is about?
I don't know. I thought it was about like Pokemon that never made it to the game.
The future maintenance of such child provides that in any proceedings in respect of the maintenance of an illegitimate child of which the defendant is alleged to be the father, no order under this section shall be made. Upon the evidence of the mother, unless her evidence be corroborated in some particular, or if the order satisfied that at the time the child was forgotten, the mother was a common prostitute.
Okay, so she doesn't have work. She's automatically a hoe. So they're just legalizing the right to call people hoes. Bitch, you got a problem.
Bitch, you a hoe, now give us money.
I'm gonna put you on the corner, because it is our legal right to do so.
Where an order under this section is made in respect of the person against whom an order has been made in respect of the child under the Infant Protection Act 1904, the Neglected Children and Juvenile Offenders Act 1905, the court may rescind or amend any such last mentioned order so as to secure that the said person do not pay twice for the maintenance of the same child. Any order made under this section may be enforced appealed from the court, confirmed or varied in the same manner in all respects to orders made under Part 2 of the Infant Protection Act 1904, and the court may issue a warrant for the arrest of any person absconding from the state with a view to evade the warrants of any such order. In this section, court and the near relative have respectively between the Children and Juvenile Offenders Act 1905. Any person guilty of an offence against this act shall be liable to a penalty not exceeding £20. Proceedings for an offence against this act or for a contravention of the regulations may be taken before a stipendiary or police magistrate, or any two justices by a member of a local committee, a guardian, a member or an officer of the court, or a member of the police force, any station or reserve on which Aborigines are located, in any buildings, and the stores, stock, and any other matter of the thing thereon or therein may be inspected by any member of the board or in the authority of the board, by any member of the local committee, guardian, or by any member of the police force, if such member is also authorized by the Inspector General of Police. The person making such inspection shall report thereon to the board. So,
don't you just love it when your sleepy friend, when he's like extremely sleep deprived and tired, you know, in order for him to stay awake, he just quotes outdated legislation?
So basically,
I know of no other friend that does this. In when they're sleepy, they just quote outdated legislation.
On the reserves where they keep Aboriginal people, force them to live, they can inspect them at any time and look through all of their things as much as they please, and they can authorize police to do the same.
Wow.
Anyone on the authority of the board, by any member of a local committee, guardian, or by any member of the police force.
That is a really shit rental expression.
Yeah, they can just waltz on in and start tossing beds whenever they feel like it.
Great.
The governor may make regulations for all or any of the matters following, prescribing the mode of transacting business and the duties generally of the board, local committees, guardians, and persons employed to carry out the provisions of this act, authorizing entry upon a reserve by specified persons or classes of persons for specified objects and the conditions under which such persons may visit or remain upon a reserve, and fixing the duration of their stay thereupon, and providing for the revocation of such authority. Prescribing the mode of distribution and expenditure of monies granted by Parliament for the assistance of Aborigines, apportioning amongst or for the benefit of Aborigines the earnings of any Aborigines living upon a reserve, providing for the care, custody, and education of Aborigines, prescribing the conditions on which certain children may be apprenticed under this Act, providing for the mode of supply to Aborigines of rations, blankets, and other necessaries, or any medical or other provincial assistance, providing for the control of Aborigines residing upon a reserve and for the inspection of children apprenticed under this Act, maintaining discipline and good order upon reserves, allotting land on any reserve for occupation by individuals or families, for carrying out the provisions of this Act, imposing any penalty not exceeding £10 for the breach of any regulation. So yeah.
Nice.
That's the Aborigines Protection Act.
Wow.
Of 1909.
Thank God they didn't do the Chinese in like that.
It's now 9:58 p.m.
Yes, it is. I want to get a coat of paint done before we go.
Start packing up the stream.
Sure.
Arrivederci, folks.
Well, Reddit's timed out,
Well,
but
Reddit's timed out, but
okay. You wanna do that? You got it.
Toodaloo, folks. Thanks for tuning in for another.
Plug it, work it, plug it.
We'll be back again next Friday. From approximately 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m.
I'll be here Tuesday, same time.
Eastern Daylight Saving Time, which is Greenwich Mean Time plus 10. 3 minutes plus 11.
But I'll be here Tuesday, same time.
And I'll yeah, you know, if you follow, if you comment, if you subscribe, wherever you're at, you'll get notifications. So, you know, follow, subscribe, ring that notification bell, all those things. Yeah.
Doing a good job, man. Keep it up.
Have a good evening, folks.
I mean that.